do you reckon there's a future for the passenger railway in New South Wales?
I hope so. I really do hope so. I'm the old school. I joined the railways in 1970 and I did 2 years on steam engines and learned all my trade on Generation 1 diesels, and I learned it the old-fashioned way, and it absolutely breaks my heart to see what this government and preceding governments have allowed to happen to the world's safest rail system.
Yeah.
And we had the safest rail system in the world at one stage. But now there's no bloody staff anywhere. See, that station's all bridles unattended. Taranar's been shut down. They're all getting run down. This management team that we've got in CountryLink at the moment would know their arsehole from their elbow. They don't seem to care. The government doesn't care. The government won't release funds. All they're interested in, everything that they're doing points to they don't want a rail system. They don't want a rail system because
Are you in the buffer? I am.
A rail system means responsibility.
I can.
And nobody seems to want to accept bloody responsibility for anything. You know? And, you know, like, they pulling out tracks. That's not advertised. It's advertised in the local papers, you know, because people are losing their jobs and things like this. But
I'd never heard of it.
Nobody seems to care, you know. He was going to remove this service last December.
Yeah.
And we went around and we got many thousands of signatures in petitions to keep the service running. Now, can I ask you a question? When do you hear CountryLink services being marketed on radio and television or in newspapers?
No, they're not.
They're not. Why aren't they? Because if they do, they've got to keep the fleet running. If they do, they've got to employ more people. If they do, they've got to buy more gear. You see, I've been a CountryLink driver since '89, just after CountryLink was created from passenger, from Country Pass. You had City Rail and Country Pass, then they created CountryLink. Now our first general manager of CountryLink was a woman, and she was, preceding to that, a Woolworths checkout supervisor. Now I'll ask you the question, how in the Christ would a woman from Woolworths know anything about running a passenger railway? Now I'm not being nasty.
No.
The people that are running the railways now are all economists. They're not railway people.
No.
They're only interested in counting beans. The railway's not that. The railway, we provide a service, and we have provided a service since 1855. Okay, sometimes it mightn't have been very bloody good, but there was always an alternative service available. Now we operate on a CSO, Community Service Obligation. Now you know that State Rail Rail Corp is losing $3 million a day. Okay. In 1980, when I joined the job, there was 48,000 employees. We're still running four-wheeler trains over the Blue Mountains. We were manpower, labour intensive, and we were making money. So in 1974, they bought that Pommy prick out, a Lord Beeching disciple, and all he did was wanted to shut down all the branch lines, paint everything blue and white. Okay, this is Sodwoods. Used to be station and little industry here, and wool and sheep and See the loading dock over there?
Oh, yeah.
That's where you go over there and they load the livestock there.
And what's it called?
Sod walls.
Right.
SODWALLS.
Right.
It's where the old bridge used to be up there, the overhead bridge. Now, he come out here and painted everything blue and white. And he lasted for 6 years. Then David Hill come on the scene and they had a name change to State Rail Authority of New South Wales. And we were losing $3 million a bloody day then. The length of the story is, all these people that they've had running the rail system since Neil McCusker finished in '74, he was the last Indigenous Autonomous Railways Commissioner for New South Wales. And it was the last time the railways as a whole made a general profit.
Yeah.
And all they want to do is cut. We're down to 3,500 employees and we're still losing $3 million a day. Now, they sold off the only making arm of the railways to private enterprise. They sold Freight Corp and Pacific National for a once-off price of $1.2 billion to Patrick. Right? In the year that they sold Freight Corp made $800 million on coal and $400 million on bloody general goods. They made $1.2 billion. So this government literally sold the entire railways and all the freight earning capacity for the same price as what it earned in 1 year. Now that's scandalous. Of course, freight was propping up passenger.
Yeah.
Freight has always propped up the passenger side of the railways.
Yeah.
Freight has always made money. Now they've sold the freight off and all of a sudden, Jesus Christ, we're $1 billion a bloody year in debt. How come we're $1 billion a year in debt? Because they sold the bloody arm of the railways that was making $1.2 billion a year, for Christ's sake. Yet these politicians are that fucking dumb they can't see it. Because they don't want the responsibility of a rail system. And it really gets under my skin and a lot of blokes my seniority. See, I'm getting ready to retire. I'm aiming down the track shortly. Look, you know, I've got 33 and a half years here now. I've got a few more years to go and I'm leaving.
Yeah.